Hi, it's Carly McAvoy. I wanted to interpret an equation for you that's written in standard form. And it says from 1985 to 2018, the number B of federally insured banks could be approximated by B of T equals negative 295.7T plus 12,895, where T is the year and T equals 0 corresponds to 1985. So let me break that down for you a little bit. We said this was coming from 1985 and that T stands for the year. So it should make sense that in 1985 then the year was 0 years. We haven't gone anywhere yet. We're just starting. So that's why our T equals 0 is 1985. If you haven't seen this format before, this just says that we're talking about a function and we're using the variable T in our function. That's just function notation. It doesn't mean B times T. It just means B of T as a function using T. Okay, what is the slope and what does it mean? The slope of a line is always right here next to that, it's the coefficient of the variable here. So our slope is negative 295.7. Notice that I did not include the T. The T is not the slope. The slope is the coefficient. And we use M as abbreviation for slope. And then what does it mean? Well, because we see a negative, we would expect that the number of federally insured banks is going down, and so it means that we are seeing a decrease in those. It means the number of banks, actually the number of banks federally insured, was decreasing by 295.7 every year. So we're losing banks. What's the y-intercept and what does it mean? Remember, the y-intercept is always here at the end of the equation, and this is always our starting point. And so we use the lowercase b to represent y-intercept. So that's 12,895. And what does it mean? It means that in 1985, when we first started, this was the number of federally insured banks. I think I kept forgetting to write the federally insured part. Represents the number of banks in our starting year for 1985. That's what that means. And then how many banks were there in the year 1990? Well, what you have to realize is that our starting year was 1985, and that represents 0. So 1990 is 5 years later. So that means that in 1990, we have T equals 5. And so what you do is you just replace the T. Remember, we had B of T. Now we're going to replace that T with the 5 in our equation, and then simplify that to find out what we get. If we multiply these two things and add that, we get 11,416 and 5 halves, or 5/10, sorry. And so that means that we had about 11,1400 federally insured banks in 1990. All right, have a fantastic day.